So the question is it safe to drive to Milford Sound Road in early April? Is there any off-peak traffic time? I can drive down and cruise the next day. And any suggestion on the cruise as well? So basically, we're going to go through what are the best cruises option in Milford Sound and the road down to Milford Sound as well. All right, so the first thing I need to keep in mind is that the drive down to Milford Sound is actually quite long. But it's a very scenic and absolutely gorgeous drive. Actually, in fact, in this very channel right here, when we did New Zealand's biggest gap here, we actually did an entire episode of just driving down to Milford Sound because there's so many stops to do along the way, and we think it's worth doing in an entire day. So check out that episode. We stop in awesome places like Ellington Valley, Mirror Lakes, and the Chasm. But Laura is going to tell you more about that beautiful road.
Yeah, so most people take this journey from Queenstown, which personally I would avoid doing. I would actually go down to Tiana, which is about halfway on the drive, which otherwise would take you, like 5 hours to drive down there and 5 hours back, which is a really long day. So since Livewire, it looks like you're going in a camper van or a car, a good option is to spend the night over in Tiana, which is a small town just on the outskirts of the Fiordland National Park. Stay there overnight and then begin your journey on the road towards Milford Sound the very next day. And on that road, there's actually so much to see. Some of the highlights are a place called the Mirror Lakes, very well signposted off the side of the road, with plenty of time before you actually reach the Mirror Lakes. So you'll get to go into a car park just on the side of, just off-road parking on the side of the road. Very quick, like 5-minute walk. It's not even a walk, it's just this beautiful lake on the side of the road, which you barely have to walk to. There's also the Eglinton Valley, which is this vast, amazing landscape where actually I think the new Mission Impossible film was filmed. So yeah, it's a really stunning area to get some photos.
It still smells like Tom Cruise.
Thanks for that addition, Robin. And also there's a really awesome walk called the Chasm, where you get to see like this river which has been eroded away, and basically it's formed this huge chasm, which is really awesome to see. It has a beautiful forest as well. But on BackpackerGuide.NZ we have an article which is the 15 stops to do.
It's 20, isn't it?
Is it 20? It's an obscene amount of stops basically on the Milford Sound Road. So we'll link up in the rebroadcast of this video, and we'll put it in the description below so you can check that out for all the different stops you can do. But I would definitely recommend spending a whole day doing that road trip, because there's so much to see along the way and a lot of different hikes to do as well. And if you're traveling in a camper van or not, you can actually stay in the Milford Sound area overnight. There's a place called Guns Camp, there's the Milford Sound Lodge, there's also some Department of Conservation campsites. If you're traveling in a camper van, you can stay there. So there's definitely the option to stay around the Milford Sound area for the night.
Yeah, all right, so now about the Milford Sound cruise. That is what almost everybody will be doing when coming to the South Island of New Zealand. It's a must-see, it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's really fantastic. Now, there are quite a few companies which are actually operating cruises down there. There's really a huge amount of cruises, and they all go pretty much around the same routes, right? Let's be honest, and we'll go through the route in a minute. But basically, you get Juicy Cruise, you get Cruise Milford, you get Mitropy Cruises, you get Real Journeys and Go Ranch, same company, you get Southern Discoveries, and they pretty much all do the count of the same cruise, and that's pretty much it. The only different one would be kind of the one that does an overnight. So if you have the option to do an overnight cruise, so then that'd be slightly bit different. Southern Discoveries, if you do the cruise with them, they're highly likely to stop at the underwater observatory because they own it. So you can probably go there and see that. It's a really cool place to visit, but there are other options to visit that as well. But Southern Discovery will give you the extra observatory. The two cheapest ones usually are going to be Juicy and Go Ranch. They're going to fight for like the cheapest prices. Which one else is different? Oh yeah, Real Journeys will offer multiple different cruises, but you're gonna have one which is a scenic cruise and one which is a nature cruise. They're pretty much the same thing, and you see pretty much the same spots. They just have a very different commentary along the way. Is there anything else that stands out, or should we go through what
No, I think that pretty much.
All right. But yeah, so the options are plentiful. So literally just pick the one. Either budget, if you're into budget, you go for that. If you want to see the observation, underwater observatory, you go with Southern Journey. And if you feel like a different kind of commentary, you go with Real Journeys.
Yeah.
But you're gonna see basically about the same spot, which are.
Well, first of all, you'll see Sinbad Gully, which is kind of one of the first things that you see on the Milford Sound cruise. It's just a huge sort of valley on the side, on the water side, which is really cool. Obviously, one of the big highlights is Mitra Peak, which is the highest mountain in Milford Sound, and that's like the sort of focus of all your photos when you're doing the cruise. And there's Copper Point, which I think is the narrowest point of Milford Sound, where if it's a windy day, you'll definitely feel it. There's a lot of really cool waterfalls to see along the way. One of the biggest ones is Bowen Falls, which you can actually take a boat there and do a walk there now, which is pretty cool. And there's also Fairy Falls, Bridal Veil Falls, or if it's raining, loads of waterfalls.
Check out a video of us doing a cruise in Milford Sound. We went with Real Journey, and it was an absolutely drenched-full, like rainy, crazy day, and we had an absolute blast. We got the wettest I've been in my entire life, I think. We were literally pouring down water from our shoes. Like, it was absolutely insane. So check this video out. It's linked in the description below, and also on our channel. Just use the search bar and type Milford Sound cruise. Yeah,
and another, obviously one of the probably the most memorable waterfalls of Milford Sound is Stirling Falls, because all the boats literally try and go as close as they can underneath this huge waterfall. So no matter what cruise you're on, they all do the same thing. They all go as close as they can to this waterfall, and it's pretty fun. Get onto the front of the boat when they do that, and you'll get absolutely sprayed with nice fresh mountain water, so that's always cool. There's a few wildlife that you could be seeing along the way. Well, almost 100% of the time you'll see seals on Seal Rock. There is a little rock with some seals that like to lie on there, and that's really cool to go and check out. If you're lucky, you'll see pods of bottlenose dolphins, which we've done quite a few Milford Sound cruises now, and we've seen them about half the time. They come along and start swimming alongside the boat. Harrison Cove, I think that's where the underwater observatory is. And there's the Cascade Range, which when it's raining, that's when everything starts to cascade, and there's loads of waterfalls everywhere.
Insane,
So there's loads of different things to see, and there'll be commentary on your boat along the way. I think especially with Real Journeys, they give you, actually with Juicy Cruise as well, they give you a little leaflet with all the points on the map, which shows you all the highlights of Milford Sound. So there's a lot to see along the way, and you'll be taking plenty of photos.
So it's really awesome to visit Milford Sound for sure, and if you can allocate a little bit of time, you can definitely avoid the crowds. Now, there was a question as well. There was one part of your question as well, which was like, when is the kind of off-peak time? So the thing that you have to know is that, well, the Milford Road is rather small, that is for sure, and there is a lot of bus tours going down there, right? Just because it's such a highlight of your trip, almost everybody goes there. Now, if you take the bus down there, well, it doesn't matter when you're driving, but if you're driving on your own, if you want to leave a little bit later, so if you leave past 10 o'clock, there's going to be almost no buses there anymore. So if you drive down there by like around 10 or 11, you're going to be able to take all your time going down there. There's going to be no one else, and you're basically going to be reversing it. If you stay at night over there in Milford Sound, you can do the first cruise, for example, and then you can drive back up, and when you drive back up in the morning, there's literally no one driving back up, which is really awesome. So that may be like the best, that's basically the best option that I would be doing. You were asking for the off-peak time? Those are it. Anyway, any questions of your own in the comment below, like and subscribe, and obviously we also put a lot of links in the description of these videos for you to be able to dive a little bit deeper into this question. We do that on every single one of our videos. So again, always check the description of every single one of our videos for plenty of links.